Hello everyone, welcome to the Yikwuo Institution. In our previous video about Florida property tax reform, we introduced the basic content and latest progress of 7 main proposals. This video will further analyze these proposals that have shown clear differentiation through several simulated scenarios, exploring exactly how these reforms might affect ordinary families. As of checking the official Florida legislative website on the 28th of February 2026, the 7 House joint resolution bills centered on property tax have shown clear differentiation. Among them, HJR 203 has advanced the fastest. After passing the House, its core direction is to exempt homestead properties from non-school ad valorem taxes rather than eliminating all property taxes. The term property tax mentioned here mainly refers to ad valorem taxes calculated according to property appraised value and does not necessarily include non-ad valorem fees such as waste collection, drainage, street lighting, community maintenance, and other service or project-based charges. Other proposals involve different approaches targeting elderly people, homestead properties, tax exemption structures, or tax reduction amplitudes. Understanding this point is essential to judging what these proposals mean for ordinary families. Real impact on ordinary families. Regarding the impact on ordinary families, we use 3 types of typical families for scenario simulation to illustrate what changes might occur once the core proposals are implemented. It should be noted that these 7 proposals are not entirely equivalent tax abolition schemes. As of checking on the 28th of February 2026, the only proposal that has truly advanced the fastest and clearly points toward eliminating non-school ad valorem tax for homestead properties is HJR 203, which has already passed the House. HJR 201 and HJR 205 also belong to relatively large-scale tax reduction plans, while HJR 207, 209, 211, and 213 tend more toward adjustments targeting different groups, structures, or tax reduction amplitudes. 1. Typical middle-class family, suburban Orlando, home valued at $400,000. Current tax burden, annual property tax of approximately $6,000, including approximately $2,500 in school-related ad valorem tax and $3,500 in non-school ad valorem tax. This estimate focuses mainly on ad valorem tax items for scenario simulation, excluding non-ad valorem fees such as waste collection and drainage fees. If HJR 201 passes one-time elimination, they would only need to pay approximately $2,500 in school-related ad valorem tax annually, reducing payments by approximately $3,500 per year, equivalent to monthly savings of nearly $300, which could cover part of car loan payments, children's education expenses, or family travel budgets. According to the version of HJR 203 passed by the House on the 19th of February 2026 and delivered to the Senate the same day, it is no longer the 10-year gradual tax reduction discussed early on, but rather changed to exempt non-school ad valorem tax for homestead properties, starting the 1st of January 2027. If finally implemented according to this version, the family's tax reduction effect would be closer to HJR 201 rather than gradually increasing slowly over years. 2. Retired couple age 65 plus, home valued at $300,000. Current tax burden, annual property tax of approximately $4,500, which represents considerable pressure for seniors living on fixed pension income. If HJR 205 passes elderly tax exemption, they would pay less than $2,000 in school-related ad valorem tax annually, saving approximately $2,500 per year, significantly lowering living costs and potentially determining whether they can continue living in their long-term residential community. However, as of checking on the 28th of February 2026, HJR 205 remains at the initial stage after House first reading, still considerably distant from becoming actual referendum text. Therefore, this scenario serves better as an indication of policy direction rather than the main scheme likely to be implemented in the short term. 3. Renting families may face indirect cost increases. Unlike homeowners who benefit directly, renting families are more likely to face hidden burdens. If local governments experience fiscal shortfalls due to reduced property taxes, they will likely compensate by raising sales taxes, increasing rental property taxes, and other methods common responses by U.S. local governments after property tax revenues shrink. This indirect impact is harder to predict than the amount of homeowner tax reductions and could cause renting families' living costs to rise instead of fall. 2. Core controversy, the fiscal balance challenge behind tax reductions. Currently, the core controversy surrounding these proposals centers on the issue of Florida local governments' wallets. Generally, property tax is the core revenue source for U.S. local governments, accounting for between 70% and 75% of local tax revenue. Excluding federal and state transfers, it represents nearly 50% of total fiscal revenue. with county and municipal governments' dependence on property tax reaching as high as 50% to 75%. For Florida, non-school ad valorem taxes directly support core services such as public safety and infrastructure. If these taxes are substantially reduced or eliminated, local governments must either cut public services such as reducing police force or delaying road repairs or find new revenue sources. Both choices will trigger chain reactions. Precisely because of these fiscal impacts, despite HJR 203 having successfully passed the House, with the text also requiring local governments not to reduce funding assurance for law enforcement, fire protection, and other emergency response services below baseline fiscal year levels, it will still face strict scrutiny at the Senate and voter levels. Precisely because HJR 203 may cause significant fiscal impacts to local government, many local officials and economists have expressed concerns and doubts, believing that reforms must be accompanied by more comprehensive fiscal supplement plans rather than merely pursuing good-looking tax reduction figures. Additionally, some experts believe that if homestead non-school ad valorem taxes are significantly eliminated, although existing homeowners will benefit, this could push up Florida home prices, exacerbating the difficulty for first-time buyers, further worsening the housing affordability crisis. This resembles the current benefiting existing homeowners while squeezing first-time buyers controversy appearing in property tax reforms in some U.S. states. Subsequent milestones. Combining the latest progress as of the 28th of February 2026, these 7 proposals have clearly diverged, no longer in a state of advancing simultaneously with equal opportunity. Currently, only HJR 203 is leading the way. It passed the House on the 19th of February 2026, with 80 votes in favor and 30 against, and was delivered to the Senate the same day. The current official page shows that it has been referred to the Senate Appropriations Committee for review. In comparison, HJR 201, 205, 207, and 211 remain at the initial stage after House first reading on the 13th of January 2026. HJR 209 was listed for House second reading on the 13th of January 2026, and HJR 213 was listed for House second reading on the 28th of January 2026. But none have completed full House chamber voting like HJR 203. What deserves continued attention next is not which version will emerge from the House first, but whether HJR 203 can continue to advance in the Senate, and whether the Senate will retain the current elimination of non-school ad valorem tax for homestead properties structure, or rewrite it into a milder, narrower version. Procedurally, Florida Constitutional Amendment joint resolutions must first obtain approval from both chambers with 5/3 majority each, then achieve more than 60% approval in a statewide referendum before taking effect. Therefore, even though HJR 203 has already broken through the House first, it still faces 2 high thresholds before actual implementation. Interested readers can continue tracking the latest progress of these proposals through Florida's official legislative website. All information in this video is based on publicly available legislative updates as of the 28th of February 2026. These proposals can change at any time as they move through the legislative process. The household cases and tax estimates in the video are only scenario simulations. Tax rate differences among different counties, cities, school districts, and special tax districts vary greatly, so the specific impact cannot be directly applied to personal household decisions and does not constitute any legal or financial advice. This video is for informational purposes only. For the latest updates, please check official legislative sources.